Cross-Stitching Runner, and welcome to my channel. I want to say a big hello and welcome to all new and returning subscribers, and if by chance you've stumbled across this channel is all about cross-stitch with a bit of life stuff thrown in, and this particular episode has been recorded on Ngunnawal land, also known as Canberra. So there's probably more live stuff than cross-stitching for this particular episode, which means that if all goes well and I remember majority of what I've said in my recordings of trying to do this episode for today, we should actually be able to get this done and dusted in about 20 minutes, give or take. So let's get into the cross-stitching first, and then let's see how we go after that. So with the cross-stitching, I've worked on about 4 projects, but particularly 2 projects, and a lot of that has to do with the football stitching challenge that I've set for myself. It has pretty well come to a close because the main football season has come to an end, and we're now at the really very, very pointy end of the football season. So with that in mind, the first project that I've been paying a lot of attention to is the Dewdrop Daisy. So this is what Dewdrop Daisy will look like, or very close to what it'll look like when it's done. It's based on a photo that I've taken and converted into a cross-stitch pattern. It's available on the Hot Cross-Stitching website as a PDF download that you can then choose to print out if you're able to, or import into Pattern Keeper. Fully compatible with Pattern Keeper, and it works an absolute treat. So this particular project, I'm stitching on, I think, roughly 25 count even weave or linen, and because my football challenge has pretty well come to a close, I'm no longer keeping track as closely on how many stitches I've done in a fortnight or anything like that. I have done a little bit of work on it today, so I do know that I've stitched over 100 stitches, but in this past fortnight I've got no idea about the total. So I've been focusing on filling in the petal that we see on the side here where my fingers are twitching a bit. So I've been focusing quite a bit on that, and it's coming up really, really well. And my goal overall with this is to get 22,000 stitches done in terms of the calendar year, and I'm well over halfway, like halfway in terms of percentage of project, and I have done about over 14,000 stitches this year, and I've got about 12,000 to go. So in an ideal world, if I just stitch all day, every day for 12 days straight, I'll be sweet. I'll have reached that goal. Life happens, so I still have a few months to go, then we'll be okay. So I'm stitching this 2 over 2, so 2 DMC threads over 2 fabric squares, and this is about 28 count even weave, and it's all good. I think if I don't look too closely at the stitches, it's looking very nice, and we'll get there in the end. The next project I have to share with you is a project that I guess I've got 2 names with. It's officially known as mini mushrooms, and I tend to call it Gundaroo mini mushrooms. So this is the first project of hot cross stitching that I started on about 2 to 3 years ago, and actually it's probably been 3.5 years ago, and it's a labour of love to some extent. I'm stitching this on 14 count Aida, and I'm using all DMC threads, and this is the only only hot cross stitching design where I'm actually using a paper pattern, because I guess when I first started stitching it, I hadn't gotten to the stage of being able to properly learn how to get it into PDF and properly put it into Pattern Keeper or anything like that. So I am a lot more comfortable now with it. I've learnt along the way. So this particular pattern, it's now ready and enabled for purchase in the Hot Cross Stitching website, and it can be imported into Pattern Keeper, and it should be fully compatible. If you do experience any problems with the importation into Pattern Keeper or anything like that, let me know, and we can definitely do some troubleshooting and get it all sorted. So what I like about this pattern is that it's got this really nice balance between confetti stitches and solid block stitching. And that way, like with this area that I'm working on at the moment, I'm stitching where we see the black right now, and I'm loving that I can just focus on the solid stitching right now, and then when I need that break from the solid stitching, I can then move over to the areas that have got the confetti, and then when I get annoyed with the confetti, I can move back over to the solid blocks, and it's just really, really nice. And I guess overall, I'm probably a bit, once I finish this page, I will be well and truly over halfway. And then I just have the other half to go. And my eventual aim with this project is to get it framed up and enter it into some of the Australian shows, like the Canberra Royal Show, the Adelaide Royal Show, the, keep wanting to say the Mecca or the Gabba, but it's not quite there. It's the Royal Show that's up in Queensland, the Brisbane more specifically, and it's got a really really Aussie name, and I can't think of it for the life of me right now. But yeah, that would be one of the eventual aims for that. I can't remember how many stitches I've put into it, but it's definitely been a significant amount, and I guess the nice goal would be to have a page finished for that by the end of the calendar year, and depending on life stuff, that could happen. The next project that I've been working on is, which one is it? Here we are. The free pattern from the Hot Cross Stitching website, which is I count my lucky stars every day that you are in my life. And I am stitching this on 28 count linen, and I'm using the Water Lilies specialty thread, which is the colour of Tequila Sunrise, I think it is. And I've hit a little bit of a stitching snag, in the sense that where we see the the letter N just near the T, you'll be able to see that there's a bit of a gap between the top and the bottom of the letter N, and I've mucked up in my stitching with the counting and that, and I'm going to need to either do some creative stitching and fudge it, or do some unpicking. I really don't like unpicking and frogging when it's 1/1 on 28 count, regardless of the type of fabric, because I will inevitably end up mucking up more stitches than unpicking them. So that's why I've put a little bit of a pause in, just to see what I can do when I am in a better headspace to want to be able to deal with it. Otherwise, it is looking really pretty. So I am looking forward to getting the letters or the words done. so I can then start on that really, really cute border around it. And I've got a few ideas of the colours that I want to use for that border. So that will be really cool when that happens. When I finish it, wait and see. I mean, it is what it is with life. And the reason why I keep talking a bit about finishes and that kind of thing is from a conversation I had with a stitching catch up, and it was just some comment about finishing, and that, yeah, it's all good. It was just, yeah, stuff going on in the head. So the last project that I have to share with you is the Blue Mountains walking trail, and over the last fortnight, this has probably had maybe 100 stitches maximum put into it. And with the amount of detail, I'll just bring this in a little bit, with the amount of detail that's in this particular project, you won't really be able to notice too much as to what I've actually done. And as far as editing's concerned, I probably won't insert any pictures to show what was done before and that kind of thing, because technology and I are not communicating very well at the moment, and I will more than likely end up corrupting something before I end up getting it to where I need it to be. So that's where the I guess the heading from the last episode of perfection getting in the way of something good, I have come to accept that I would rather have something good that has me fumbling over words and being a bit of a hot mess, rather than trying to get it perfect, because it's going to cause me more stress than what it's worth. So this is where I'm at for the Blue Mountains walking trail, and it's looking good. It really is. So I'm stitching this on 25 count easy grid guides, and the squares are 20 by 20, and the it's all DMC pattern keeper friendly, and I'm stitching at one strand over one fabric square, and it is pretty confetti heavy, and it's one where it's a project, I guess, similar to the pink bottle brush mini project, where if I'm needing to get out of my head and just have the proverbial blinkers on and focus on something, those sorts of projects can actually be quite good, because I'm forced to focus on where I'm at, what I'm doing, what I need to achieve, and it works out really, really wonderfully in the end. So I guess, still talking a little bit about cross-stitch stuff, I guess my plans for the next couple of weeks are to still focus on Dewdrop Daisy, get my tongue-tiedness undone so I can communicate a little bit more clearly, and hopefully work on some slightly different projects, so I have something a little bit different to share with you next time we catch up. And I don't know, I'm just trying to figure out what the best way would be for me to I guess be a little bit more detailed in terms of the amount of time I've spent on a project, or the amount of stitching that I've done over the fortnight, because half the time jotting things down, I'm not as organised as what I should be. So that's where we do have these wonderful planners and all that kind of stuff available. For me, sometimes I can plan something to smithereens, but executing it is the problem. So I could have a planner, I just won't always remember to write in it, or I'll start off being all good, then something will happen. So wait and see. So that's pretty much it for the cross-stitching side of things, and I am using a little bit of a different program, but the good thing is I am recording, it's all good. So I guess life stuff. With life stuff, I've been focusing on a job application, and I was successful in getting an interview from that job application. And in the next few days, in the next few days, I will find out as to how successful I've been from that interview, and whether or not I've gotten the job or I've just been shortlisted for the merit list. So if things work out the way that I want it to, and I have a pretty good feeling for it, that I will hopefully be eventually moving up to Wollongong for the job that I've had the interview for. And it is something that I'm really, really looking forward to. I have been annoying my boyfriend to no end with all this talk about how excited I am about us moving up to Wollongong to have a sea change and to, improve our lifestyle just a little bit more, because we always love doing our weekend getaways or a longer holiday down at the south coast. And I know that I find, at least, that I'm a lot more relaxed for spending time at the coast. And that said, I do love being at home here in Canberra, and I'm very much a homebody. And as much as I can talk people's ears off, like us catching up now or catching up with people in person, when I'm really, really comfortable with those people, I will talk their ears off like nothing else. So I am getting a dry throat, and I've been talking too much. I'm really sorry about that. So that's where a lot of my focus has been when I haven't been stitching or playing on my phone too much. I've been procrastinating like nothing else when I haven't been stitching and not been working on job applications and getting paperwork sorted out for that. And it is something where I pretty well need to actually have my phone in another room almost, and not right next to me, because I've got apps on the phone that I will play games on and that kind of thing, and it's like, nah, that's not good, it's not productive. And so that's where I do want to get some more stitching done, rather than playing on the phone and wasting time. And we'll get there. That's been mostly it for life stuff. I guess what I know is coming up for the next couple of weeks is Australia has a national public holiday on Thursday, all because of the Queen passing away. And then it also happens to be my niece's birthday on this public holiday. So I'm really, really looking forward to catching up with family to celebrate my niece's second birthday. That's going to be really cool and exciting. And I haven't been able to catch up with my sister and her family for a really long time, not since Christmas last year, because of life, illnesses, life getting in the way. So we have had the best of intentions to catch up. It just hasn't always worked out that way. And then I guess this time next week, we'll know who has won the grand final for the football. And with that's where the other exciting thing has happened with the weekend that we're just finishing up here in Australia. So yesterday, on the 17th of September, the team my boyfriend and I support, they won their game, which means that they are in the grand final for the football. And that's something that is just really exciting, because I feel like they've got a really, really good chance of actually winning the grand final. And I think what sort of adds a little bit to it is that they are a Sydney team, and with the AFL in not in Canberra, with the AFL in Australia, historically it's been very much a Victorian thing. 90% of the teams in the league are from Victoria. There's probably about five teams or so that I can think of that are outside of the Victoria space, but I think there's probably more. Anyway, my point is that Sydney is playing against a Melbourne team, and it'll just be an extra thing to have exciting and be great to watch. And I hope that I can get a bucket load of stitching done on that Saturday next week. With a bit of yelling at the TV as well, depending on how things go. So with that in mind, I'm just looking at the time, and I've still managed to get this particular episode done in a touch over 20 minutes. So go me with being concise, with still a bit of rambling and whatnot in between. And I know that last episode I had talked about recording an episode about the football challenge that I'd set for myself for stitching and all the rest. I don't know if I'm going to get around to doing that recording at any point in time, not in the near future anyway, especially if it turns out that I've been successful with getting the job for Wollongong, because I'll be needing to do a lot of organisation in the background to do what we need to do. It may be a case where maybe next year I might do an episode on that particular challenge if I choose to do it again, because I'll have a lot more time. I'll be able to plan it out a lot more. Technology will hopefully be nicer to me by then, and it'll be a lot smoother. It'll be all right. That said, I will leave you and love you now, and hopefully see you in a couple of weeks' time with some different projects that I've stitched on, and I'll hopefully have some better details as well in terms of how much time I've spent on the projects, and who knows, I might end up being able to say how many stitches I got done on those projects as well. But we'll wait and see. At the moment I'm not going to make any promises, because I may not be able to keep them. So if you've enjoyed what you've seen here, make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bell, and I will see you in a few weeks' time. Happy stitching.